The Academic Staff Union of Universities has been on strike since February 14, 2022, and this is due to the inability of the federal government to honor the agreement signed between the union and itself on December 2020. Some of the issues raised by the union include an increment in the pay of its lecturers for those who deserve it, promotion for those who merit it, and release of funds for the revitalization of public universities. You would agree with me that the state of our public universities is nothing to write home about in terms of infrastructure, learning aids, and so on, such that when compared to foreign universities, our universities here in Nigeria are lagging behind. And this calls for quick intervention from the government. Another major bone of contention between the union and the government is the issue of UTAS and the IPPS, which has been resolved. There's been a lot of back and forth between the union and the government since the inception of the strike, and all of these issues raised are not beyond what the federal government could resolve should education be of utmost priority to them. But here we are, and we know of what value education is to them. It's been over 6 months now, and Nigerian students have been at home, while their mates who could afford to attend foreign universities and private universities in the country are having seamless education. Whose fault is it? Is it a crime to be an average Nigerian? Because the average Nigerian bears the brunt of the ills of this government. This is the second prolonged strike in 3 years, so that parents who could not afford to send their children to foreign universities or private universities should be ready to have their work spent double the number of years that has been assigned to a particular course. And this is not only harming and toying with the life of the future of this country, it is also contributing to the underdevelopment and brain drain in the country. And our politicians careless. They are not concerned. I mean, their children are schooling abroad. Even they themselves are schooling abroad. If not, how would you justify Senator Femi Gbajabiamila posting a picture of himself in Harvard University when universities in his country have been shut down for 6 good months? Since the inception of this strike, the president has paid little to no concrete attention to it. And I mean, this is no surprise. What would you expect from somebody who has little or no formal education? But one would expect the second person in power, who is a professor of law, to throw his full weight into this issue. Someone who has been a part of the system, who was once a lecturer, to understand the importance of education, to see the plight of these lecturers, to be interested in this issue, and see that the students are able to return to classes on time. But what did we get? Nothing. Just recently, another set of their Abacha loot was recovered. And one would expect the government, who has been crying of little funds in the country's purse, to churn this money into the education sector to please the union. The lecturers are still on strike. How do you intend to put an end to the strike? Is the government ready to meet with the demands of the union? The president needs to understand at this point in time that governance is not run in autopilot. It is run with proper planning and implementation. You just don't say things and expect things to happen. This is, however, not to exonerate ASUU. No, I think both parties should be ready to come to a common ground. Both parties should be ready to make compromises, because when two elephants fight, it is the grass that would suffer. The grass here is the Nigerian student. It is high time that the government representatives, and ASUU reach a compromise and put an end to this strike that has been going on for too long. My name is Munisola Abosede, and this is my 2 cents.